Thank you so much for all the comments and stories shared on my last video about the dangers of going to hairstylists. I responded to every single one so far, and I really appreciated the sense of community that I felt while I was reading those comments. One in particular really hit home. The girl said that she has spent so much time just trying not to be a problem. And that so resonated with me because I think after you have the realization, so first of all, I I don't know if this is, so respond to me if you are a light or golden brown woman, or even if that's not your exact complexion or whatever, but this question, you have an answer for it. When you were a child, as a light brown woman, or not mixed or biracial passing, just an actual, like your phenotype black, both parents black, all grandparents black, but not dark skinned, did you find that when you were in school, like K through 12, that you didn't really catch any smoke from either side, like light skin or dark skin? Like you just existed and colorism really wasn't a thing for you? Because colorism really wasn't a thing for me until I was actually like a young woman, like that debutante era, 18, 19, just entering like the adult world as a young adult woman. That was like all of a sudden, that's when I became light skinned. Like that is when I guess I had grown up enough into my own womanhood, into my own femininity, that all of a sudden my experiences in the world were no longer neutral. Complexion became a thing when I became a woman. But as a little girl, I did not experience colorism on either side. Now, if I'm honest, when I think back on the times throughout K through 12, maybe 5 to 7 times where I was picked on, it wasn't by a light brown girl, it wasn't by a biracial or biracial passing girl. And the one time it was by a light brown girl, she was very, very masculine. And I think that had something to do with it. But back to being pretty much invisible, not invisible, but just didn't get any smoke until I was a woman. And I remember watching the light skin documentary and the dark skin documentary before I'd had enough experiences as a woman to know what type of experience and what type of reception I was going to have from other women. I hadn't figured it out yet by the time that I had watched those documentaries. I was still very, very early in my own adulthood, and very, very early in understanding how I would be received by other women. And so when I watched light girls and I watched dark girls, I felt sympathy for both, but I did not identify with either. And I remember thinking like, that wasn't my experience, either experience. But boy, did it come. And when it came, growing up as a light brown girl, but having darker skinned relatives all around me, I was not raised to be a colorist, and I did not feel superior to anyone based on color or really for any reason. Like my mother was always a very much a you're not better than anyone and no one's better than you type parent. So I was very shocked to enter the real world as a young woman, and time after time after time be received in a shady way. just the reception was off. It just, if you enter a space and you're kind and you're respectful, you don't dominate the conversation, you're not trying to be the center of attention, and you're welcoming of others, there's a natural expectation to be welcomed and embraced. And it is a false expectation if you are benefiting from an ism. And it's going to continue to be a false expectation. And as long as you have that expectation that people are going to treat you right because you treat people right, that is not going to be your experience more often than not. There will be lots of positive experiences, but a lot of times that those people will tell you, I expected you to be so stuck up when I first met you, or I didn't like you when I first met you. Why didn't you like me when you first met me? I don't know. I just didn't. And I have a story time about that I'm going to tell on another day. Nobody's ever said that to me. Start off not liking me, realized I was a cool girl, decided to like me in spite of themselves. I've never been able to keep a woman like that in my space for long, because eventually that jealousy rears its ugly head again. But anyways, back to this awareness all of a sudden as a young adult of colorism, and all of a sudden being a victim of reverse colorism. When you grow up identifying with ambiguous black people, phenotypically black, undeniably black in their ancestry, you are identifying with the underdog, so to speak, per Chrissy. You're identifying with the underdog. You are sympathizing with the underdog. You are the underdog in your own mind, until not only are you over here with the mindset of the underdog, fighting the good fight, making sure you aren't colorist, making sure you don't feel superior, because although you recognize that you are a little bit lighter, you still don't think of yourself as biracial or mixed or anything, unfortunately in the black community, anything special, so to speak. Now, that doesn't mean I had low self-esteem, but I didn't think of myself as being worthy of, like, I'm so pretty, people should be mean to me all the time. Or I should walk into a room and just expect some smoke because I'm here, even if I'm pleasant and nice. Like, I never thought that would be the experience. Even now, like, it's crazy to me. Like, I swear, you be out here living your life not thinking much of anything, and then the hatred you get for no reason, being picked apart for no reason, it's only so long you could pretend that you who've done nothing but entered the space and spoke to everybody and been kind and polite. Like, it's only so long it's only so long you can gaslight yourself into thinking that it's not a superficial reason that you're being treated crazy. And so there's the reverse colorism, and you can't escape it. You can't escape it. The only way you can escape it is if you lose your pretty privilege. And there are many ways to do that. You can let yourself go. You can dummy yourself down. We live in a society that values thinness. So, there are a number of ways. But to the extent you don't do those things, I feel like the best way to come to grips with the reality of is to just accept and understand it. Like, this is kind of how it is, and have like a very strong sense of self, and just decide that to at some point to not expect to be embraced and welcomed, and then pleasantly surprised if you are. Like, to me, I think that's where I am mentally. Like, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to continue to be kind, but I'm not going to continue entering spaces expecting that from others. And so the question for you, if you are a light brown girl, did you have a similar experience, like not experiencing colorism as a child, so to speak, but as you became a woman and you fully grew into your looks, like then all of a sudden you were light skinned and being treated as such. Because we gotta acknowledge it's like, yeah, there's privilege there, but the black community does not treat light skinned people well. They don't, not the women. And yeah, like what has been your experience? When did it become a thing for you? When did you find that your experiences in life were more closely aligned with the comment section of a Chrissy video where she was telling light skinned women that she didn't care about their tears?